You don't actually need me to tell you this, because if you drive a car, you know it. Gas prices are reaching their highest levels we have seen in years. And wages, they're not keeping up with inflation. Consumer sentiment continues to set new record lows with no apparent end in sight to the Iran war. The situation is not looking to get any better anytime soon. Yet when the president was asked this week if he thinks about how Americans are doing financially when negotiating with Iran, he said, and I quote, "I don't think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anybody." And that all he thinks about is stopping Iran from getting a nuclear weapon. The nightcap is still here. Anthony, I'm going to turn to you first. Oil supplies are shrinking around the world. Airlines are canceling flights. Here in the U.S., the biggest concern is higher prices, with more people sounding the alarm that a genuine crisis is underfoot. Right? The producer's price index, which is more important, it's going to tell us what's coming down the line, is warning us life's about to get more expensive. Where do you see this going? And I know we have a completely bifurcated society that I spend a lot of time with investors who are like, what are you talking about? Everything's great. The market is great, but real life isn't.
Yeah, the market is great. The ultra wealthy are not going to feel anything. Even the moderately wealthy are not going to feel anything. But the average American is not looking at the producers index. They're going to see it very soon, and it's going to be.
But they don't have to look at the producers index. They live it.
Sure, but I'm saying far worse is yet to come, and probably a few months, probably right before the midterms. So, there's a lot of gerrymandering happening right now. Who's to say how that affects the balance of power in Congress? But I gotta believe that with a war of choice that is unlikely to be completely wound down by then, with prices surging, with fuel prices already surging, the average food, everything, travel, everyone's going to be feeling that, and the vibes are bad. Remember when 2024, the vibes, even though inflation was cooling tremendously, you couldn't convince anybody of that.
You can't BS people about their lived experience.
Right.
I have a little bit of a contrarian view on this.
Bring it.
Okay.
Because corporate earnings are really strong.
Corporate earnings are really strong. Employment is in good shape. Inflation is clearly on the way up. Producer price index shows that it's going to get worse going forward. People say they care about gas prices. I don't think they care as much about gas prices as they say. And the reason I say this, and I've been doing this for a couple of years, traveling around looking at gas stations, some have regular gas that cost 40 to 50 cents more than other gas stations. You would think, particularly with gas prices surging, those lower priced gas stations would be doing better business. They're not. People go to the same.
Okay, but you're driving around. Can I ask you,
where?
Are you driving around in Greenwich, Connecticut, and Westchester, New York?
No. Put it this way, in cities with middle and lower income families all over the place. And this is true in the Boston area, true in the Chicago area. People are not shopping based on inflated gas. Where it's going to hit, and now we're seeing it with food prices. Food prices were up month over month, 0.7%. That annualizes to 8% a year. Beef prices are up 20% year over year. Tomatoes are up 40% year over year. People care about grocery prices.
They do.
They really respond. In part, maybe it's because you fill up gas and it's $50, $60 when you go to the grocery store and you come away with a $200 bill. It is a big, big impact. And that's going to start to hit. We're already seeing polls that say cost of living, people blame Trump's policies 70-30. That could go into the 20s going into this. And in the end of the day, I look at that and I say, you know what? The Democrats needed this war. For the Democrats, this war is a good war.
Isn't that horrible?
It's a terrible thing to say.
Isn't that like such an un-American
terrible thing
place
to say,
where we are?
But the Democrats needed this war.
With all due respect, I'm not sure I totally agree that because they're not shopping for lower prices, gas isn't an issue. It's an issue for
Your
people.
notes are out of control, by the way. I wish the cameras could see Paul's notes. If we didn't think you were a potential serial killer before the show, I definitely think it now.
Do you know where
those are crazy.
The color coordination is
those
very
are
writer's room.
crazy.
Do you know where this happened? Ari Melber show, The Beatty, did the same thing at the end of the show. I don't know. It's a weird process.
Yeah, it sure is. Keep going.
It's okay. But let me tell you about my manifesto. No,
yeah, exactly.
So, ground beef is at $7 a pound, which is the highest it's ever been. So kids, get ready for tofu burgers.
Get ready for hamburger helper without the hamburger.
So auto loans, student loans, and credit card delinquencies are at recession levels, right? Brent crude futures in May of 27 is going to be $86, which is 30% above where it was before the war. And so there's a domino effect here. And I think whether it's gas, my wife will shop for gas. Honestly, I won't. At the end of the day, it's an extra $5 in the tank. But that doesn't mean we're not worried as a household about it. But the reality is that, and this is a fact, and I'm not trying to be funny, a stat came out on Wall Street that people are buying less beer, which is important because when they start buying staples, stop buying staples that they really want. So people are literally saying now, I won't have beer. I'll just deal with reality sober. Who can, right? It's like, I just want Mountain Dew and I'll just suppress my emotions. And so I do think there's a huge domino effect here across a lot of factors for consumers.
Weigh in.
And I don't want this other bad thing to happen, honestly, for the country. There was a story in the Journal about shortages, that all the petroleum reserves from various countries, and there was sort of a lot of extra oil around the world, it's all been used up very quickly. And that if this continues for a few more weeks, there's going to be shortages coming to the U.S. as well. Not just high prices, but jet fuel, as we've seen in Europe and other places, and that would be catastrophic for the administration. So it puts even more pressure on some resolution to the Strait of Hormuz within weeks. And I heard from one, diplomat from the region, there's a chance Trump will now bomb Iran again, coming home from China to try to accelerate this.
I got two more things I want to hit before we go to commercial. Today is Jay Powell's last day leading the Federal Reserve. Tom, we know how much Kevin Warsh wanted this job. You could love Kevin Warsh or hate Kevin Warsh, but he's absolutely qualified for it. How complicated is it for Mr. Warsh stepping into it now at this moment?
Well, it's complicated given what Donald Trump wants him to do, which is to lower interest rates, and there isn't a chance in hell lower interest rates are going lower anytime soon. When you have the 10-year today hit 4.6%, that is not going in a direction that he is going to be able to rally the rest of the open market committee to get rates down. And that will make his life complicated, but once he's confirmed and installed, well, he's been confirmed, once he's installed, Trump can't get rid of him. So he's going to be there, and Trump may start yelling at him, but that's the Fed is going to be independent thanks to Powell, because he showed that what it meant to be an independent Fed.